Time for us to give our World Series predictions. Now, at the time of this recording, the Kansas City Royals, I believe, have defeated the Baltimore Orioles to go 1-0 in that series. The Detroit Tigers have officially defeated the Houston Astros to go 1-0 in that wild card series. So that changes a little bit, especially for me, because I would have thought that Houston would have beat Detroit. Now I'm not so sure. So Josh, you want me to start or do you want to start?
You can start. By the way, currently right now, the Brewers are up 4-3 in the top of the fifth with 2 outs. Mets are up to bat, and you are correct. The Royals defeated the Orioles 1-0, and the Tigers defeated the Astros 3-1. And by the way, we were talking about this before we went live. The winner of the Tigers Astros series will come to Cleveland to play the Guardians, and the winner of the Royals Orioles series will go to New York to play the Yankees.
Yeah, I don't understand why baseball does that. To me, it should be the lower seed against the higher seed. If the six wins, they should have to play the one. But whatever. I do want to say one thing before we kick off these predictions. The New York Mets and the Atlanta Braves yesterday, what they did in game two yesterday to basically screw the Arizona Diamondbacks out of a chance to make the playoffs, I thought was absolutely despicable. Where essentially the New York Mets decided we already made the playoffs, we're not going to play our best guys. The Atlanta Braves were like, oh, let's scratch Chris Sale. Now, that may be a legitimate injury. It sounds like he may not pitch in the NLDS, so I'll give him that. But there was all this talk about the winner of the first game is going to take the second game, and then you see them celebrating together. I just thought for the integrity of the game and for integrity of division rivalries, could you imagine if the Yankees and Red Sox were in that scenario and Detroit or somebody needed to make the playoffs, and the Yankees and Red Sox, those two supposed hated franchises, did that? It would be absolutely deplorable. And so on the Mets and on the Braves, I say to both of you, shame on you.
Fair enough. By the way, just for clarification, the winner of the Mets Brewers series will take on the Phillies, and the winner of the Braves Padres series will take on the Dodgers.
So if you recall, to start the year, I picked Braves Orioles World Series. Um, I am not going with that this year. So the Detroit Tigers scare me half to death because I do think they are going to beat the Houston Astros and come to Cleveland. But I think overall, the Guardians are a special team. Stephen Vogt in his first year, I think the Guardians can beat the Tigers and make it to the ALCS, where they will play, like you said, Kansas City, Baltimore, or the Yankees. I just think the Yankees have been the best team in the American League all year long. Now, their bullpen isn't as good as what it once was, which I think is where this series will come down to. Cleveland's bullpen and their pitching against the Yankees' power hitting in the ALCS. And I want to pick Cleveland so bad. I know it's a bad matchup for the Guardians. I want to believe. I'm praying for it to happen. But I got to pick with my head here. I think the New York Yankees, for the first time since 2009, will go back to the World Series in the American League. National League wise, to me, is way more open. And there is a team that has been on a run the
I,
past since the All Star break.
I think I know where you're going with this.
This team is on fire. I think it's going to be a New York Yankees, San Diego Padres World Series. And for the first time since 2009, the New York Yankees, the Giants stink, the Jets stink, but the New York Yankees will be the champions of Major League Baseball.
So you got it being a rematch of, what was it, 1996?
I'm not so sure about that. You're more of a history guy than
I
I am.
think. I know the Yankees and Padres have played each other in the World Series once before, I think. Let me double check. Yeah, it was Yeah, 1998, and the Yankees won it. So you got it being a rematch of the 1998 World Series. I've got it being a rematch of the 2009 World Series, Yankees and the Phillies. And just like in 2009, the New York Yankees will win the World
So
Series.
we both have the Yankees winning the World Series.
That is correct.
Oh, that would suck for the city of Philadelphia to once again go through the pain of getting to a championship game and losing again. I don't think the city can take it.
I I'll tell you this. I really wanted to go with the Guardians and the Brewers. I don't know why. The Brewers and the Guardians just seem like very interesting teams, and they could that could be a good World Series.
Listen, I'm just gonna say this right now. Call me a homer all you want. I will not be surprised if our Cleveland Guardians are in the World Series. I think they can beat the Yankees. I just don't have the courage of my conviction to say it.
I'll tell you this. If the Orioles are able to beat the Royals in this wild card series, I could see the Orioles beating the Yankees in the ALDS.
Yeah, but didn't the Yankees just kill them? Like 6 out of the last 9 games they played
I think so, yeah.
to wrap the division. I keep thinking like the Tigers' luck has to run out at some point.
Yeah. Like the only reason the Tigers got in is because the Twins absolutely collapsed.
And I don't like to get into politics on here at all. But for all of those that are on the internet, you guys know the meme of our president Joe Biden, Minnesota.
Yes.
Yeah, that is what the Twins did. They Minnesota themselves right out of the playoffs.
They're not the Minnesota Twins. To steal the words of Urinating Tree, they are just the Minnesota Tees.
I
Because
mean, they lost like what 9 out of their last 10.
yes, they are. They don't because they forget how to win. So they are the Minnesota Tees.
As always in baseball, it's about who gets hot. We talked about this a little bit before the show and a little bit last week. I think, kind of fortunately on Saturday, but unfortunately during the week, I think the Guardians are going to be buried in that 1 o'clock window or 2 o'clock, the early afternoon game, whatever the earliest start time is.
Yeah, I. My mom and I were talking about this on the drive home from work. I think regardless of whether it's Detroit or Houston that comes to Cleveland, Progressive Field's going to be packed.
Oh, it's going to be a sellout. There's no doubt about it.
Because my mom was saying that if it's Detroit, it's going to be crowded, but she doesn't think it would be as packed if Houston comes to town. And I was like, Houston has been to, I think it's 7 or 8 straight ALCSs. They've been to 3 or 4 World Series, and people still have a hatred for them. They're going to want to come out to Progressive Field for that series, for that potential series, anyway.
I got to tell you, it's unbelievable. Baseball does this every year. It's like hockey. I think you could, if the cards fall right, you can make a legitimate case for any of the 12 teams.
Yeah. Um, like I said, I'd love to see the Brewers face the Guardians in the World Series. I don't know why. That just seems like a really exciting matchup to me. Brewers Guardians.
I'll throw you one that one of my buddies really wants to see, and that's or come back to Cleveland for a World Series.
Say that again. Your audio cut out there.
I'll throw you one that my buddy really wants to see, and that's Lindor coming back to Cleveland for a World Series.
Oh,
Mets card.
yeah. The Mets would have to get through the Brewers, the Phillies, and then either the Braves, the Padres, or the Dodgers.
Yeah, that's going to be tough. I got to tell you what, Shohei Ohtani, shout out to you for being a 50-50 guy. Can he get the Dodgers over the top? That's the biggest question right now.
Yeah, because a lot of people are saying I don't want to say they're accusing the Dodgers of not having a legit World Series, but they're saying the 2020 World Series is a Mickey Mouse type.
Well, that 2020 World Series, even more than the NBA bubble, was an asterisk because it was 60 games. which really, let's be honest, baseball should be about 100 games. I've been saying this forever. They don't need to play in March and April. They need to start playing Memorial Day weekend. More urgency. But 60 games is just too short.
Yeah. Um,
By the way, they didn't even have to travel.
right. They played that whole World Series in Arlington.